Hello, love. I'm Kay Hill. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. So about 4 years ago, I showed you a Murphy bed slash craft table hack that I built out of an IKEA Mom bed frame. And it kind of went sort of viral, well, viral for me anyways, in that it racked up a lot of views, and it also got picked up by Apartment Therapy, which was kind of cool. And so I thought I would circle back and let you know how it held up. Are you interested? Then stay tuned. Here are my top 3 tips on what I do differently if I had to do it all over again. Tip number 1, you want to plan out your design ahead of time. I know as creatives, artists, makers, crafters, we tend to want to dive right in. But in a situation like this where you're building something, you really do want to take the time to plan it out ahead of time. And it doesn't have to be that complicated. You don't have to build these elaborate plans or draft anything, but at least draw a sketch of what it is you envision in your head and get it out of your head and onto paper. So that what that does is gives you an opportunity to think it all the way through. A lot of times when we jump right in, we end up missing something, missing a step, or missing a key ingredient or piece that we need to complete our project, and that stops and starts the project. So if you plan it out ahead of time, you can mentally think it through, see what pieces are missing and are there, and that will help you as you go through the process of actually building and constructing, and saving you a lot of time throughout the process and in the end. Tip number 2. Now, this may not always happen as fluidly as I'm saying it, but in an ideal situation, you want to lay out all of the pieces and materials that you'll need ahead of time. And that's what tip number 1 helps you do. When you plan ahead, then you can kind of assess your materials list, plan that out, go get everything that you need and have it ready to go. Because one of the frustrating things is when you get in the middle of a project and you're missing a piece, or you need an extra piece and you got to stop, run to Home Depot, which I actually had to do. And sometimes it can't be avoided. Quite honestly, you might get a piece and it's the wrong size or something, and you didn't know that ahead of time. So it can't always be avoided, but as much as possible, you want to lay out all of your pieces that you're going to need for your project and then get started. Now, tip number 3. This was actually the biggest setback for me in the end. Overall, the project went well, and I'll tell you more about that in a minute. But the biggest thing for me was using the right adhesive for the project. I think, now this was 4 years ago now, so I do have to work on memory, but I used an adhesive that did not hold up for the project. And so in the end, I ended up needing to pull off the panels on the front face of the Murphy bed because some of them started to peel off and drop off. In the end, the Murphy bed itself held up. The craft table itself held up. Everything held up except for those panels that I glued onto the front of the Murphy bed in its upright position. I don't have an after picture because I actually moved and I took it all apart because I repurposed. What I ended up doing was repurposing the bed frame, the IKEA Mom bed frame, into a day bed. So now it's a day bed in my new place, in my office space, which I'm recording from right now. Maybe I'll update you later on that. So in the end, it held up really well. And like I said, except for those panels that came off, it served its purpose perfectly in that space. Now that I'm in a new space, I have a different use for that bed. I no longer need that craft table. I have other spaces to work on. So I'm really happy overall with how everything turned out. And I love repurposing things. I hope this has been helpful. If you did find some value in it, go ahead and give the video a thumbs up. And that'll just be great feedback to let me know what types of videos that you're interested for future. I love doing DIY hacks. They call me the Craigslist Queen. One of my favorite things is rehabbing old furniture, upcycling. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. Love to hear your thoughts, your feedback, and if you've tried, to build one yourself. If you're afraid, don't be afraid, because it's really not as difficult as it looks. It looks a little bit intimidating, but it's really quite simple to put together, and you'll get a lot of great use out of it. Hope this has been helpful, and until next time, bye.